Motor outdoors, motor outdoors, here we come. Motor outdoors, motor outdoors.
Can you guys hear me?
Yeah.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah, I hear you fine.
I can't hear myself in the mic, so it just sounds a little weird, but I don't need to hear myself. I talk to myself all the time.
Seth, we got 3 episodes banged out already.
Wow. You guys are good at this.
Yep.
Yeah, where you been?
You banged them out so fast, Tim's beard flew off. Oh!
She gone.
Yeah,
She
so
got-
what's the deal with that? You're a suit now, so you gotta shave your face or what?
Yeah, I became a carpet walker at work, so it was suggested that I clean up my face a little bit.
A carpet
And-
muncher at work? What do you do there?
Carpet walker. This one's the carpet walker, not munching. Well, we got a holiday party tomorrow, so who knows?
I was gonna say
But-
you could get paid for it. I mean, I suppose if you'd have to get paid, it's probably not very good.
Why not? So, no, I was just told to clean up my act a little bit, clean up my face, and I don't really do anything half-ass, I guess. So I just decided to go all balls deep, and actually, this is something I've been wanting to do since about May. Went on my little weight loss kick, and at one point I got down to like, was it 204? And I looked at my wife and I'm like, if I hit 198, I'm gonna shave my face. Well, the next day she caught me eating a cookie and she's like, what the fuck are you eating that for? You're not supposed to be eating that. You gotta get down to 198 so you can shave your face. Well, I never made 198.
You know, my buddy Andy, who you met at Alex's or Ian's graduation party,
Yeah.
still, I don't know, once a month or so brings up your glorious beard
Was it really?
as the goal for like he even tried. He grew it for a couple of months, and it, you know, obviously a couple of months doesn't do shit. And all it did was get gangly, I guess, or shitty. And he couldn't handle it, and he cut it off. And he's like, "Oh," he says, "your brother-in-law had such a cool beard." And I'm like, "Yeah, I don't think he did that in a couple of months, though."
Yeah.
No.
Well, that was kind of funny because I do remember, I think you went in the house. You and Margaret both went in the house, and me and Jane were sitting out there with him and his wife, and he was talking about my beard, and then the other funny part was he looked over at Jane and he's like, so how are you guys related, or how's this all work? And she's like, well, Margaret's my sister. And then all of a sudden he looks at her and goes, oh, you're the fun one.
Oh, funny. There was this engineer at work the other day, and I talked to him on the phone a little bit and saw emails, but I never met him face to face. And then I met him in person, and he was much younger than I expected. And he was one of those guys that had kind of a beard, kind of down here. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
really patchy, but it was all below the jawline. And I'm not kidding. He had like a large mole size, like solid fur right here on his cheek. But it was baby smooth all the way around it. And just almost like a hairy mole hanging off up here. I'm like, dude, don't do that. Like, just shave your face. You're not
Well,
able to do it. So
there's two names for that beard. It's either the Indian beard because it's Apache,
Yep.
or it's the summer beard. The summer beard is summer here, summer there.
You started with the
nice.
chin strap, and then you moved on to the moly.
Holy moly! I could really go for some guacamole right about now.
Oh man. Scott, how old were you when that movie came out, do you think? We're talking Austin Powers. I
Powers?
believe that was 2, yeah.
I don't know, 20s.
Okay. Oh
I'd
yeah,
be
that must have been a
mid
fun
to
age.
late 20s.
Yeah, I don't think at least when the first one came out, I wasn't with Margaret. And so that would have been before 26. But by the
Okay.
time the second one
26.
came out, I might have been. And certainly by Gold Member we were together. And so yeah, probably mid-20s. You know, I wish it was like, oh, let me tell you the story about the horror I took to that movie. Fucking suck a golf ball through a garden hose. But but no, I mean I remember the movies. I had a buddy who went to school actually at the U of M, and he was like big into those movies, and I used to go visit him, and so I think I saw it in Minneapolis.
Oh, nice.
I saw Goldmember with my mom when I was in high school.
What the?
At first, she's like, "You want to go to a movie?" I'm like, "Sure." And then I picked that one, thinking it'd be a good idea. And there's like all these sexual things going on. I'm just like try not to laugh. And then like something really perverted happened, and then my mom laughed hysterically. I was just like, "The fuck? This is weird. Like, I gotta get out of here." Terrible idea.
I got one worse than that. You know what movie I saw with my parents and most of my brothers and sisters?
Passion of Christ.
There's Something About Mary.
Oh no.
Yeah, that was awkward, but super funny. I sat on the very end, like I sat the farthest away from my parents as I could, and I'll never forget. Like it's literally the loudest I think I've ever heard my dad laughing, and at a movie theater especially. Like he gut laughed about 100 times in that movie. Like the opening scene with the Frank above the berries or whatever, like beans above the Frank, like
Break that bed, break that bed.
yeah, dude, yeah. And then the mentally handicapped guy walks up. Have you seen my baseball? You know, like oh my gosh, my dad was just trolling. It was pretty funny. So
We didn't go to a lot of. I don't think we ever went to any movies as a family. But the one thing that I can kind of relate to is, or bring to the table here, is my mom. We're at my parents' house and we're watching. I believe it was When Harry Met Sally. And
oh geez,
there's that scene where she's
Like the orgasm scene.
yeah,
Yes.
orgasm scene. So I knew what was going on, but it was one of those deals where I'm probably at that age where my parents don't think I know what's going on. So I'm gonna play dumb. I looked over at my mom, like, "What's wrong with her?" And she's like, "Oh, she's just having one of those organisms."
I actually have two, and neither one is particularly funny. But when I was, I don't know, mid-20s, probably similar to Austin Powers, my mom asked if I wanted to go see the Blair Witch Project.
Whoa.
And I'm like, yeah, that's cool. I'd go see the Blair Witch Project. And then, like my phone rang and it was like the big, like super cell phone, like, I mean, like the
Sweet.
cell phones from 20 years ago that were massive. And
Oh,
so I
yeah.
pull out like my giant, like Zach Morris phone. And it was like some girl. And I was like, oh, well, I'm going to go with my mom to the Blair Witch Project. And she's like, what? And I was like, yeah, well, I thought it'd be pretty cool, I mean, she gets pretty lonely, so I'm taking mom, whatever. And I turned around and my mom just sitting there looking at me. And she was cool about it. She's like, you tell the girls whatever you want to fucking tell them. And so I would see the Blair Witch Project with my mother, which it was actually a horrifying movie. And we got done and like got in the car and like her Diet Coke wasn't totally closed, so there was a little bit of sneaking out in the car. Shit my pants. I fucking scared the hell out of me. I'm glad my mom was there. But the other one was not in the theater. One day I was sitting and I was watching Airplane, like the movie Airplane,
Oh yeah.
with
I love that
Alex,
movie.
and Alex was, I don't know, six or seven maybe years old. And I know there's a part in the movie where everybody goes crazy and the topless chick gets into the screen, bounces her tits a couple times, and then gets off the screen. And don't ask me why, but I know the exact moment this happens in the movie. And
That's because your
so,
VHS is wore out.
27 minutes and 4 seconds in. This is what happened.
so it's like getting close to the time to do it. And so I said, oh, hey, Alex, can you get up and go turn on the light switch over there, knowing that he'll be facing the other way just as the tits hit the screen.
Oh my gosh.
And my wife from the other room goes, no, don't worry, I got it. Just as I turn to tell her, no, don't do that, I see Alex's eyes get fucking big as grapefruits as two boobs get on the screen and start bouncing.
His
I was
eyes
like,
are
well-
bouncing like her tits. Oh.
Whatever, son. Those are boobs.
Yeah, that just happened, I guess.
Now you know. Now
And
you
I
know.
knew I knew from that day on that my son is straight because boy, he liked those boobies. He really liked them.
I bet he didn't want to stand up to get the light after that.
So I'm looking for the remote to hit rewind. I was like, "That's right, son."
This is what we do in this moment.
Yeah,
Yep,
you're a
and
man
this
now.
is why God made the pause button. Now, oh, what else is on your mind, Scott?
Nothing.
Do you have a new office? Your background's different than the last time I was on here with you.
Yeah, my upstairs office, the one with all the big windows. I got rid. Well, I moved. I moved downstairs. And so I still have a window. I guess that's what's behind me.
Yep.
But it looks out at a parking lot, not a river. So I won't be
Oh,
saving any more
man.
deer. But I can see the city skyline of Appleton. All our big
Ooh.
skyscrapers and shit.
Yeah.
But yeah, I did move downstairs into a different office.
Nice.
And a
Secretary
tattoo
does
parlor
walk
moved into my old office.
Mm.
Yeah.
If
I
I
went
go
up
to
there
the
the
right
other day.
spot in my driveway, I can probably see the nuke plant glow from here. So, so I got that going for me.
What's up with you, Seth?
Oh man. Well, it's been busy. You know how it is. I got the kids. We just had a stomach bug go through our house where every 2 days everybody took their turn. Started with my littlest guy, woke up in the middle of the night with yakking in his bed. So that was fun. We had to change the sheets 2 or 3 times that night. And then 2 days later, I'm helping my 6-year-old in the bathroom. We thought she was constipated, but it turns out she was just sick. I could tell when she stood up and puked all over me. That was kind of a clear giveaway. Yeah, it was fun.
Yeah.
That was a good time. That was the first time I've been puked on, I think. So
Really?
it was a good time. And then I had to come home early from work. I was like going downhill fast. And like it didn't hit me up here, if you know what I mean. It was like
Lower
Shitting
level.
through a screen door, somebody might say.
oh dude. I mean, it was a monsoon. Like it was you always hear those guys talking about peeing out your butt. Like
Yeah.
it was
I
it was
hear
that,
that a lot.
and more. It was brutal. But that messed me up for a couple days. I'm finally feeling better. And then my wife got it yesterday. So we all had our turn. And so now we're clear. The good news is whatever this bug is, like the kids all bounce back within 12 hours. My wife seems perfectly normal within 20, 24. So
I get it out of the way before Christmas.
yeah, exactly. So
So I got a question for you. So like 2
Yeah.
weeks ago, Alex's girlfriend Haley comes to the house and she sounds like 20 miles of bad highway, just fucking shit.
ooh.
And I'm like, if I get sick, I swear to God, I'm gonna kill somebody. And so then I spent the next 12 days or so sick. And but here's the thing, she didn't get me sick. She can't get me sick. This is the thing, and I'm building up to a question. She can't get me sick. Margaret can't get me sick. Ian can't get me sick. But if Alex gets sick, I'm fucked. The only
Really?
person who will transmit a disease to me is Alex. If he gets a cold, I get a cold. If he gets the flu, I get the flu. But Margaret could walk up and spit in my mouth, and she could have AIDS when she does it, and I'll be fine. But like,
Could.
often does,
Yeah.
minus the AIDS part. Like that's actually our nightly ritual. I get home from work and I'm like, "Hey, honey, how are you?" And she says, "Open." That's our nightly routine. That's how she asserts dominance.
Now we know who's wearing the pants in the family. There you go. Open up, bitch.
Do you guys have that at all, to where like any of your kids, anybody can get sick and you just know that you're not going to, but you've got like one person who somehow must share genes in just the right way that they can get you sick every time?
Nothing to that extent, but like Emily can get sick from me, and Emily can get sick from me. If she's sick, I can sleep next to her all the time and more or less not get sick. The flip side of that is Easton. Easton gets me sick every time. Mostly it's because he sneezes in my face. But yeah, usually he's the only one that gets me sick. I never get sick from Emily, ever.
See, and I've never made a tie to anything like that either, but I very rarely get sick, so maybe there is one person out there that does get me sick, but I just never made that tie to it, I guess.
I
Sure.
I don't get sick that often. I get sick every 2 years, maybe every 3 years. I don't get sick. And people at work get sick, and like, I mean, the perks of being the boss, right? Is somebody shows up in the office and they're sick, and I'm like, nope, like bye,
Right.
like get the fuck out.
Yep.
Like the rest of us don't need to get sick. Like we make money on people being at work. If you're gonna knock out 3 people from work, you're gonna cost me money. Get the fuck out. You can work from home.
Right.
And so like I can generally control my environment a bit, but I don't get sick. And Margaret gets sick like often. Like, like
Yeah.
once a month in the winter, she's just sick. And Ian seems to be perpetually sick, but he weighs like 4 pounds and he doesn't eat enough. And I think his probably immune system just needs a cheeseburger from time to time. But if Alex gets sick, I'm going to get sick.
Weird, man.
And so I knew it as soon as Haley came in, and I was like, you better not get me sick. And then the next day I hear Alex sniffling, and I'm like, shit, fucked. And sure enough, I've been fucked for 7 days. 7 days, it was bad, and then for like the next few days after, it was annoying. And now it's pretty well gone.
What you been doing? Emergency? What have you been sucking down and trying to get healthy? Any tricks of the trade?
Well, I've got this weird combination of things happening this year because I think I got a meniscus tear in my knee from working out. Like Tim at one point made a joke about like when I was doing like 500 plus pound squats, and he's like, my knees would blow out, and I'm like, but my knees are so tough, and my knees are not tough. And actually, it's one of those like tell me you're old without telling me you're old things. It actually went out when I was doing bench press.
Oh yeah.
So like and I got up from the bench and I turned to put weight on, and my knee just gave out and I just dropped.
Ooh.
And I was limping for a week and everything else, and I went to the hospital, and they're like, we're gonna do an X-ray, and I'm like, it's not bones that's the problem. But they did an X-ray, and they're like, nope, nothing wrong with you. And I'm like, I need an MRI. And so the questions they ask you ever get an MRI? Man, the questions they ask you when you get an MRI, because they started going through and they're like, do you have like earrings? Do you have recent piercings? Do you have recent tattoos? Pacemaker? Blah, blah, blah. They're going all the way through. And I'm sitting there, no. I'm like, I've never even heard of this stuff. No, I don't have that. And then she's like, well, do you have penile implants?
Whoa.
Like, are you fucking with me?
No, I just implant with my penile.
No, I'm just that big.
You want to find out, Mama? But and so I'm sitting there, and this is an older lady. She's obviously like the Walmart greeter, except at a hospital, and she's like asking me all these questions. And so she's like, penile implant, and I'm like, what? And she goes, it's a thing. Like she was all excited about it, and I wanted to be like, well, what does that do? But I'm like, I do not need an 80-year-old woman explaining to me whatever.
Oh, you should have asked. This would have been an even better story if you had asked.
I only sleep better with a little sausage in me.
I would have recorded it, yeah. But anyway, so I had that problem before this, and then I had some shit go on at work, and I had to let my accountant go, and so I've been our accountant, and so I haven't been sleeping, so I've been taking some combination of CBD, melatonin, and NyQuil to sleep for like months. Probably built up a pretty good addiction at this point.
Oh,
that sounds
good.
So,
how long you been on CBD? Because I think my
wife's
would
been
do
getting
really good
for
with
years.
that. Oh, really?
And
is that why you're so cool?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes.
You're making me blush.
No, my wife's been getting it forever for various reasons here and there, and she'd get it in like an eyedropper and just like under the tongue, whatever. And then she ordered these CBD with melatonin. They look like Advil, like the liquid gels. And she's like, "Oh, take those; it'll help you sleep at night." And so I took one; it didn't help me sleep. Turns out if you take enough of them, right out.
Oh, sure.
And they're like awkwardly strange expensive, like 30 of them are like $80 or something.
Yeah.
Which I'm like, I can go down the street and buy actual weed for like way fucking less than that.
Right.
But whatever. So the question of what do you take for the cold? I learned one thing in the Dells once because I was so hungover I thought I was going to die, is that if you drink enough water, you can get rid of anything. You just have to really commit. And I'm talking like a gallon an hour. Like I'm talking really
Drown
commit
yourself.
and really pound some fucking water. And if you drink enough of it, you'll flush whatever it is out of your system. And I feel like when I committed to that this time, it actually worked.
Nice.
Or maybe I'm just lying to myself. But otherwise, I did NyQuil to sleep at night, and I did Advil in the morning. Just regular old Advil because my head felt like it was going to explode, and I figured that gets rid of the swelling. And so, I did those two things. A little bit of cough drop,
Oh yeah.
like not the Ludens that are like candy. I think it's Tim's favorite brand.
Balls.
Cola.
And yeah, so now I just have to figure out how to wean off of all the various sleeping aids that I've been on for a while.
Sure.
I can't sleep
Nice.
at night. Like Saturday night, it was like 4:00 in the morning, and well, you know, it was cool. It's like at 1, I realized the new season of Reacher came out, so
Oh, nice.
that drove me through to like 3 or 4. But yeah, I can't sleep at night, so I got to figure that out.
Can you not sleep in general, or is it like, I don't know if you guys have experienced this, but that sleep you get when you're sick, where it's just weird dreams, restless sleep. Like I get some weird dreams, man. I had to get up twice the last couple nights at 2 a.m. just because I was dreaming and so uncomfortable from being in bed. Like, or do you just have a hard time sleeping lately in general because of
Probably
life
both.
stuff?
Yeah,
Sure.
I probably have both. I've had a hard time sleeping for a while. Just it's that whole thing where you like you spend the whole night and you're happy as hell, and then you watch like a movie before bed or a TV show, and it's yuck it up. This is hilarious, and then the second you turn off the TV and close your eyes, like every mistake you've ever made and every possible thing that can ever happen bad all rushes into your head at once. And like 10 minutes in, you're so mad. And then you get up and you go wander the house and you can't shake it. And finally it's like, where's those fucking CBD things from Margaret? Pop a few of these sons of bitches and see how that goes for me. And then you get those super vivid like dreams where you wake up in the morning and like you're mad at everybody. You're like, no, I saw it. You stole a fighter jet. Now the military's after us. This is bullshit. The kids are like, what? Well, stop stealing fucking F-14s. Like, what do you want me to do? I can't protect you from the government.
Oh man, that creeps me out. I dream well enough. The idea of a pill that would make me dream more vivid freaks me out, man. I feel like it would snap me.
Yeah, wet dreams, Seth. Can you imagine how intense that would be?
Oh, I can only imagine.
Like a fire hose.
Yeah. I have a hard time sleeping on Sunday nights into Monday. I'll usually wake up like around 1, and I'll usually, it's because of work. I'm like, oh, what are we gonna do this week? What am I have guys work on? And then I usually wake up about 4. So usually about 3:30 I fall back asleep, just in time. But yeah, that's usually my Sunday routine. I'm always in a good mood on Monday.
Oh
That's pretty much it. And then Tuesdays are the best. Oh, I sleep so well Monday night into Tuesday. They're great.
Really? Just because the stress of Monday stress is over?
Yeah, because but I'm usually not that tired on Mondays, and then like I just crawl into bed about 8:30, and then I wake up at like 4, just like ready to rock.
Full night's sleep. Nice.
Yeah.
Nice. Well,
Are we gonna record a podcast here tonight, or what are we doing?
We are recording a podcast, actually. I hit record.
Yeah.
And it started auto-recording
Oh.
at the time we had it set, and then I stopped it when Seth joined and hit re-record. So we've been recording a podcast for a while. If somebody wants
all that picking your nose and playing with that big black thing on your desk, whatever that thing was, you were flipping around in the air. Yeah, I'm pretty sure that's what it was. So
I thought that was a ribbed microphone.
Hey-o.
Yeah, it's a little floppy, but it'll do.
Guy's got a dick like a cow tongue.
Oh man, so yeah, we're coming up to Christmas. What do you guys? Did you guys talk about this already before I got on?
We did not. That was like one of the big things, and I think we were hoping Cory was going to share some exciting news about a new addition to the family.
Do I got anything to share over here? Let me just.
You getting another puppy? Are you getting another puppy? Are you getting?
Oh, you mean this old thing?
Wow.
Yeah.
Ooh.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah,
It's so cute.
I went pheasant hunting, and then I just decided to take a random trip just to see what they had for bows. This I blame Seth. This whole thing sprung because I saw that uh, Seth's aunt's bow. I was like, I wonder what bows are going for. So then I just walked into Sheila's and I seen it sitting there. And then a week later, I was pheasant hunting again. I was like, I'm just gonna go there, and if they have it, like I'm gonna be really interested. And it was still sitting there. So I put a
So you
24
already
hour.
so you guys heard him. He already bought it in his mind before he even went there.
Oh, yeah.
If they
I mean,
have
let's
it,
be
Decisions
real.
were
I'm gonna
made.
be interested. Yes.
Yeah. So then I
So
I
is it
came.
done being my fault now? Is it still my fault, or now is
Nah,
it
it's
your
still
fault?
your fault. Yeah, no, it's still your fault. And so then we were all sick last Saturday, and then so he was sick. I didn't feel very good, but anyways, so then I went back in on Sunday, and we pull into the parking spot, right? So I brought him with, and we literally pull into the parking spot for Shields, and I just hear bleh, and he just barfs all over himself as we're sitting in the parking lot. I'm like, I just drove a half an hour to go buy a bowl, and you're gonna barf now? So I get them all cleaned up, and then I thought, like, am I a bad dad if I just clean them up and go inside? Yeah. So I just cleaned him up and I went inside. And then, like, we're walking in, he's just white. I was like, hey, buddy, you okay? He's like, yeah. I was like, all right, okay, good, because daddy's going to go buy a bowl.
Oh
So,
my gosh.
yeah, so we walk in there.
A bad dad. A
Yeah.
bad dad would have been the guy that said, just stay in the truck for a little while. I'm gonna lock the doors. You just if you gotta throw up on the floor.
I told him if he didn't throw up while we were inside Shields, we could play big buck hunter. So he held up in his end of the bargain, so I held up mine. So bought this, and yeah, we walked out of there, and man, I couldn't be happier. So I got the Methews V3X. I actually got the 33-inch instead of the 29. So like this thing is a beast.
Nice.
Uh, New, this thing is like $2,000. I actually did get it used. I was telling Seth, so
Really? Wow, it looks great.
yeah, the Phase 4 actually has split limbs here, so instead of 4, you have 8. And I was so hung up on that. I'm like, they're just gonna be these cheap shit little limbs, and like I don't want that thing breaking. Like if I'm gonna spend all this money, like I want a quality bow. And so like I was dead set that I was gonna get a V3X, and then this one just happened to be in there and like basically half price. And the thing is just mint. So I have been going full nerdgasm on like what I want to put on this thing because there's no sights, no rest, no quiver, nothing. And I actually listed my bow for sale on Borders podcast site. I actually had a guy in Craigslist message me for it. So yeah, I'm basically going 100% new, short of my release coming in 2024, and I just can't be more excited. I mean, I have watched so many YouTube videos on stuff. Like I'm basically an expert at this point. You guys ask me a question, and I'll likely lie, but I might know it. So
Who
yeah,
can
yeah, I'm
know
just so
Cory,
excited to
and
start
I
playing
bet
around.
your wife is so pissed right now because you probably, knowing how you handled that mule deer hunt and everything else
Yeah.
you ever do, you probably have just been getting home from work, barely helping take care of your kid, nose right
Yep.
to your phone.
I barely
shopping,
work.
Yeah,
barely
barely.
work.
Exactly. Just shopping for bow attachments.
Yep.
And guess what? Every time your wife gets mad, you probably say, well, it's Seth's fault.
Yep.
So
Basically. Yeah, I have it narrowed down to 2 rests, 2 quivers, and 2 sights. And now I'm really, really stuck on them. So, but yeah, 2024, I can't wait to start slinging arrows with this thing. Like, I am so excited. I think I'm gonna run the same arrows that Seth's running. Like, it's gonna be sweet. I can't wait.
that's gonna be awesome.
Yeah.
Dude, yeah, it's a good looking bow. You'll be happy with it for sure. That's
I
quite
sure
the
hope
upgrade.
so. Yeah, I mean, that was the big thing. Like, I finally felt like my old bow to upgrade was worth spending the money. Like the features and like the things that I could do with it. I'm like, yep, it's time.
Yeah,
So,
absolutely, man.
Yeah, wow, that's
That's
nice.
sweet. Yep. Now when he misses, there's no excuse.
still gonna be your fault, so that's all right. If Seth wants to talk me into this crappy bow, I want to miss.
So that brings up a top or something I want to add to this, which is horseshit to add to it. But anyway, do any of you guys know why the Mexican could not shoot his deer with his bow?
No, why?
Scott already knows the answer. It's because he did not habanero.
Oh. Cory's not even gonna let himself laugh at that. Look at him just shake his head.
I'm
No,
not even gonna dignify that with a response.
no, get it? It's like
Well-
habanero, but habanero. Get it, Cory?
He did not habanero.
Yeah, I get the dad joke there. I do. I get it.
It's
I
not
would
a
have messed
dad
it up.
joke.
I would have been like, cause he didn't have a jalapeno. Or like, I would have just
On a
used the wrong
stick?
pepper.
Yeah, just
Yeah.
messed it up. Yeah, you didn't have
Is
a
that one of
bell
those
pepper.
Mexican word of the day things from like I
Yeah.
don't know, a couple
Oh,
years ago
yeah.
on Facebook, you used to see that Mexican word of the day
Yeah.
or whatever, and it was always like
Yes.
something stupid.
They were the
Are you
best.
saying that was stupid, Scott?
No, that one was gold. That was
Because if
gold.
you are,
So-
you're a dick.
The only thing that disappoints me, Cory, the only thing that disappoints me about Cory getting this new bow, it's not even that he blames me for it. I'll take the heat. It's the fact that I just don't understand why you didn't upgrade to a crossbow, dude. Like,
You know,
why didn't
That's
you
what I'm
upgrade
saying.
to a real weapon?
so,
So,
so
hold on,
I
wait.
had-
Tim, how many deer did you kill with your crossbow this year?
How many times did I sit out there with my crossbow this year? Because I was told it's not real hunting, so why bother?
I'm glad that ridicule finally
I'm
has
so
done what I
glad
wanted
shame.
to do. Yeah, you should just sell it or return it. No. Yeah,
That was kind of a inheritance.
yeah, we had a little conversation about crossbows or whatever, and I told him, I was like, you should see what I send Seth. I probably send him 1 or 2 videos or like memes a week about crossbows.
Oh, yeah.
And just how much I despise them. But
We at Border Outdoors cannot condone picking on disabled individuals.
Yeah, I have a scar here. This is why I need a crossbow.
Yeah,
Oh, that's where they took out your heart? You heartless hunter. How could you
Yeah,
kill a
they're-
poor Bambi with such a destructive weapon like a crossbow? No, honestly though, do you guys know? I never heard the final number. I know like halfway through the season, like the deer numbers being taken were the same, and I think 40% of them, yeah, like a fair amount of them were crossbow, but like it wasn't shaping up to be like more deer were killed or anything like that. It
Are
was
you
So
just
you're
talking-
saying the total amount of deer taken with archery, right, is both
Right.
the same?
oh,
Okay.
Yes. So
So
like
it's not
they were
we've
recording
wiped
the
out
deer
half the
shot.
herd.
Yeah, they were recording the deer shot during archery season, and the
Yep.
numbers were the same as usual, right on par. Only there was obviously a percentage of that was crossbow hunters. So, but it's not like if at the end of September normally there'd be 2,000 dead deer. It wasn't like it was up to 4,000. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? So, it was just kind of people using a different weapon.
they're
So-
lying.
I had seen something earlier this year that the numbers were actually down, and I
Overall,
Total
yeah,
harvest.
overall, but
Yeah.
the same is true in Wisconsin, and we didn't let retard bows come in, so I don't know. Sorry, Tim.
What are you
Tim's
doing
just,
with me,
Yeah.
Tim's
Todd?
just getting
Yeah.
destroyed.
You make me
But
happy.
I heard that that numbers were down like overall. People were starting to blame like the wolf populations and shit, but that
Mhm.
proved to be like not necessarily founded, but it was down. There it is, 7.45% down.
Yeah, I believe it.
Yeah,
I mean, we had a couple hard winters, man. It's
Yeah.
been slower. Like
It seemed
northern
like more
Minnesota was
people
really
got
bad.
stuff this year. Looking at the community page, it seemed like every other day somebody was getting something.
Only the
Yeah, there
best
was- I
hunters
mean-
got something this
Yeah, I think a big part of it was just what part of the states people were hunting in. Like the northwest angle of Minnesota was brutal. Like they considered shutting down the season. There was just very few deer, but they had a really hard winter, which is a factor. And there are a lot of wolves. And if there's half as many deer left, but there's still just as many wolves trying to pick some off, yeah, then wolves definitely have an effect. It's been hard to know how much of an effect. You hear stats and you hear that there's studies showing that wolves don't really kill that many deer. But man, I don't know what a
So-
pack of 8 wolves would need to eat, but they'd have to find a lot of beavers. So
I
So-
know that
Eating beavers or
both.
clover.
right.
the initial like opening weekend harvest for rifle. So maybe archery was on track, but rifle was down 30%. So I just
Sure.
pulled it up. So total 2023 harvest was 155,000 deer in Minnesota. I know that's usually really close to 200,000. It is kind of like the goal or the average. So you're talking 25% down
Sure.
overall. So I'm honestly surprised it's not more for the amount of guys that I talk to who are usually pretty successful hunters that didn't hardly see a deer or tag a deer. I'm really surprised that it's even that high. So
Yeah, absolutely. Well, I got my deer opening morning, so I just made it. I just got in and out, done.
This is
So
way easier.
I
You
did
do this
too.
every
way
time.
easier. Yeah, right.
Yeah, I think I sat twice as long as you did, Seth.
You sat for like a half hour, an hour, or something. Or?
I think it was a half an hour. Yeah.
Nice.
So
Now, all this crap that we're giving both crossbow hunters, and in essence Tim, right? Because that's what he's
Yep.
been using because of the shoulder and all that stuff. In all honesty, I would love it if Tim just like ramboed with his crossbow. Like if he like got a crossbow tat and just had like a patch on every shirt that was like crossbow hoe or something, just rub it into all of our faces how much better crossbows are. It would be way more fun. So
cross my
don't be
bow, cross my hoe.
yeah. Exactly. You should double down on it, Tim, and stand proud of what you got.
Well, we were actually talking before you got on, Seth. The fact that where I do bow hunt, I haven't even been out there since last spring, I think it was. My camera's still sitting out there. So Christmas Eve now, we're thinking about Saturday that morning. We might just kind of take a walk because it's like 3/4 of a mile back. Just go for a nice little leisurely walk and go pull my camera chip and see what we got out there. And I'm probably gonna be pretty pissed at myself if I see some dandies out there. So, but yet there's still time. So
yeah,
Right?
yeah, you
will it
got a week.
happen? Do you guys think it'll happen? I don't think it will. I just don't have the time, and again, I haven't even had the thing in my hands for God knows how long now. So as far as like target practice goes, but then again, that's I feel like with the crossbow, you could pick that up and probably get back in the groove pretty quick. You know,
Yeah.
Yeah.
not like a bow, and I do have a bow here. I just don't use it for deer hunting, so
Sure.
it's more or less one of those deals I bought for playing tic-tac-toe with Wyatt when he had his bow, just to keep each other shooting and a little competition going. So
Yeah, it's fun. It's good.
heck yeah.
Well, you should bring your crossbow when you walk out to get the camera. You know what's gonna happen. You're gonna bump a monster while you're walking out.
Oh
there.
yeah,
That's what'll happen.
it'll be bedded down right in front of that camera, guaranteed.
Oh yeah. It'll run out to
That
30
would be
yards and then turn
hilarious.
broadside, look back at you.
Yeah,
Oh,
take a
Using
big
your
old giant
camera to take
shit
dick
there.
pics.
Along with all them damn turkeys you got running around your yard.
You know what's funny about those turkeys? When I didn't even pay much attention, I'm kind of ashamed to even have to ask this, but the fall season, when does that start for turkeys? I know it's a long time. It's been a
September?
while.
yeah. It's back in September. I want to
Right.
say, was it just with the archery season? Like I feel like it
Because
just lined up with the deer because they're technically a big game animal, I believe. But
Yeah, I
Well,
think
the
it
reason
closes in November, so month and a half, 2 months. Here, I don't want to misquote. I'll look it up.
September
Well,
29th to October 29th is the fall. September 30 to October 29 is Minnesota fall season for turkey.
Okay.
weird. What a weird day to pick, huh?
yeah.
So about a month, yeah.
Well, the weird part is that flock of 13 turkeys I kept sending pictures of, they
Mhm.
disappeared right about that time frame.
Sure.
Okay,
We didn't see
there you go.
we didn't see any of those guys around forever. And I had a field camera out in my garden this summer because I had some hellacious beast get into my live trap and bend that fucking door in half to get out.
Wow.
And I'm like, what
Jeez.
in the hell got in this thing? And I know there's been like badgers and shit around here before because Wyatt actually hit one on the road back behind our house.
Really? You
And
got badgers bite? Wow.
oh yeah.
The
So
badger
I
don't
put
give a
a
shit.
no, he don't get no shit. Fucking honey badger don't care. So anyways, I reset up some more traps back there and I put cameras out there. There were some really, really big coons that did come into my garden. So I'm thinking maybe that's what it was. But either way, every other day I had turkeys walking by that camera in my garden. and they're out there picking it. We're trying to figure
Oh,
out which
yeah.
plants are even after, because we had deer and shit out there too, eating off top of the green beans and whatever. But it's just the fact that we were seeing them nonstop for so long, and then yeah, right around towards the end of September, you couldn't ever see them ever again. But it was a daily occurrence to have 13 turkeys go walking across the yard,
Sweet.
and just the other day, Wyatt sent Jane and I a picture. He was leaving our yard about 5 o'clock in the morning, and I think what do you say? There's 5 or 7 deer on our driveway, standing there.
What
It's
the
like
heck?
all you got to do is put that pedal to metal, man. We would have had venison and freezer. But and then the other funny thing is when I did shoot this deer this year, one of the things I do is I'll take that carcass and I just throw it out in our garden. And yeah, some people might get a little pissed at me for saying this, but I don't care. I got some neighbors with dogs that like to wander, right?
Yep.
Well, the last time I put a deer carcass in my garden, by the next morning, it was gone. It got drug off
Gee.
to probably a neighbor's yard.
Yep.
And that's the neighbor guy's going to say, I don't know why, but my dog starts throwing up in the house all over the fucking place right around deer season. So what I did this year is I took that carcass, I put it in front of my camera out in the garden. And this is kind of a weird occurrence that we had going on out there. If you look at the timeline on my camera, there was times where I'll see 2 or 3 does out there. They're still eating like the squash and all that kind of shit we left out there for them. But within 5 minutes, you got 2 or 3 coyotes.
Yeah.
They're in there chewing on the carcass. And then, so some days the deer will come before the carcass, and then the next day the deer are there, or not for the carcass. The deer are coming in there right before the coyotes. And then there's other days where the coyotes come right before the deer, and it's all within like a 2 to 3 minute span. It's like they're crossing paths. So
Interesting.
when you mention about are these wolves actually going after the deer all the time? Yeah, I'm sure that a lot of them are going after the deer, but like these coyotes here, are they actually going after these deer? I don't know. I'm trying to pattern it, and it doesn't make sense to me. It's weird.
Right. I
So-
don't think coyotes will chase healthy deer that often. Like they'll come in
And
curious, but they don't put the chase on like a pack of wolves might kind of deal, If there's a sick one in the group, I think they'll do a little more effort. But
Yeah, right.
Yeah,
Yeah.
or
Got some
little
of the
ones.
wounded or little guys. Yeah.
Right.
right.
But it's just kind of cool to see that we got these deer and coyotes that are actually kind of commingling right in our backyard. And of
Sure.
course, it makes a guy want to get some night vision shit and get rid of some coyotes. But
Well,
Oh,
I was
yeah.
gonna
Oh,
say
yeah.
you ought to sit out there with a call after you throw the carcass out there and just wait for them sons of guns. I know a guy that's got a call that would do some calling for you if you really want him to. So
well, and the shitty part about my property right now is the fact that anything that you got to shoot out here, you got to be really, really careful because there's not a lot of houses nearby. But like, say if you're going to shoot a coyote, anything with like say a rifle, you got to
Mhm.
be really careful. Even anything
Sure.
more than a 22 around here, you got to watch what you're doing because there's a lot of houses in the background. So
Oh
Sure.
yeah.
there's a gravel pit just on the road from us, and I know he has let some guys go out there and hunt. There's been many nights we're sitting out in the driveway having a campfire, and you can hear them coyotes out in that gravel pit. It's like I
Sure.
just want to go out there and just start smoking coyotes, Smoke
Right.
a
I'm
pack a
good.
day.
I'm good at shooting predators with a shotgun. Just ask Seth, right, Seth? I'm good at
Oh
shooting
yeah.
them.
Good at taking a nap with a shotgun on your lap when a predator comes in, maybe. Yeah.
Oh,
Me
I
and
think
Cory
that
went on
was-
this. We entered this coyote shooting contest one winter. It was January, so we went out hunting all day. I mean, like,
We hit
or
it
all
hard.
night, I should say.
Yeah.
We hunted all. What time did we start in the morning? We went out the night before we registered. Then we
Yep.
got up the next morning, went out and hunted at first light, hunted hard all day. We stopped for lunch for about an hour in Clearwater, and
Yep.
then I mean we hunted all day, and then we saved one of our best spots for at night when the moon was out. And we're out there. It's like probably 9:30, 10 o'clock at night.
Yeah, Seth's got the rifle. I got the shotgun. Yeah, so he's
Yep.
got long range. I got short range.
Yep.
Yep.
And it's, the moon's out, so you can see pretty good. And Cory's sitting off to my left, and the call's been going for probably 5 minutes, probably 10 minutes at this point.
Yeah.
And, you're kind of thinking, oh, probably isn't going to happen here. And all of a sudden I look up, and here's this freaking fox. I mean, running in full bore. Like, running in full bore. I'm like, oh, frick. And I start to put my gun up, and I'm like, I can't find it in the scope because it's coming in. It's within, like, I don't know, 50 yards already. I'm like, it's too close for me. I can't see it. I lower my gun and I'm like, Cory's gonna blast this thing. Here it is. It's like 12 yards in front of us, and all of a sudden, it like comes kind of to a stop, and I'm like, why the f hasn't he shot this thing yet? And I look over and picture a guy kind of half leaning against the tree. Picture Cory in his chair right now. Cory, put your chin in the air. Yep, just like that. That's Cory with his gun across his lap, sitting to my left. And I just yell, shoot! And Cory, you woke up and shot, didn't you?
Yeah. So
Yeah.
I heard him. He's like, shoot him. I was like, huh? Whew. Like a good hunter, I just shot at noise. And then I just look at him like, did I get him? He's like, no, you didn't get him.
No, dude. Frick, man. You weren't even close because it never even got faster after you missed. So, yeah. Dude, it was so funny. Hunt all day, and one comes into like gimme distance for a shotgun, and he was just snoring away. So funny.
God.
Yeah. But hey, it was a good story. It's probably a better story than if you shot a tiny little fox. So, good times. Yeah.
Yeah, we got fox problems on the farm right now. We got to take care of a couple of them, and one of these days just got to sit out back and just hang out and wait.
Yeah. Be fun. We gotta get Brian, my cousin, to call one of these days, and he's been having a good trapping season. He's been getting a lot of coyotes down there again, and yeah, I always get jealous of trappers this time of year. It always looks like so much fun, but you want to talk about time. Like,
Yeah.
I don't got time to practice my bow. I sure don't have time to go out and do a trap line in the morning and leave my wife with kids or going to work late, and
Yeah, because that's got to be what, every 24 hours you're checking traps and.
Yep. You gotta check them daily.
Yeah, and that's his thing. That's his priority. I love the idea of it, but I just know that's just not something I can take on right now. So
that's a special kind of person, no doubt about it.
I should have done it when I was 20, but just didn't. I think back to when I worked construction. I used to be laid off in the winter. I could have freaking been trapping all winter and doing that kind of stuff. I just never did. Foolish me. But
Yep.
oh well.
Yeah, it's crazy when you're young and you got all this time and you spend it in like bars or video games or something stupid. And then when you get older and you actually have money to invest in cool hobbies, you just don't have any fucking time to go.
Yeah.
And, yeah. I haven't gone trap shooting in like 2 weeks, namely last week because I was sick. But it's like, damn it, I just want to go because we started doing 2 rounds and shit, and the guys are still going, and I'm like, damn it, I want to go. And 2 weeks ago I was too busy. Last week and I was sick. It's bullshit.
Yeah. Scott, one of the last episodes you were talking about, and then when, you're so busy, and then when you finally do have time, like, you have all these things you wanted to do, but you're like, you either just don't feel like doing it. You're like, I just want to stay here and go mindless. Or like for me in my stage of life, like tomorrow is an example. I've got tomorrow off of work because so I've got tomorrow off of work, just the way it worked out. And
lied to me.
Well, no, I didn't lie, but here's the deal. I could have brought my kids to daycare all day and just done whatever I wanted on my list, but the guilt in me I can't leave my kids at daycare all day. Like, I just feel guilty. So I'm bringing them in for a couple hours to get my chores done in the morning, and then I'll go get my kids, and I'm on daddy duty. Now, however, a few years back, I would have just taken the day off. I would have tried to get a last bow hunt in, or do some of those hobby things. But man, the dad guilt just hits me so bad now.
It's just
Quit being such a good guy. I will send him to daycare every time. Daddy's got stuff to do. No, and I won't feel bad for it at all.
Cory, I if you want, like, that's totally fine. I'm telling you, a few years ago, I would have done it probably with Claire, but like now that Claire's gotten older and like it's going by fast, and it just creates like there's this awareness clicking in, like they're not going to be like that forever, and it's just the guilt is just killing.
I'm glad he's not going to be a little shit forever. It's going to be great.
So Seth, I got a question for you. Are you paying for that daycare tomorrow?
Yeah. I mean, you pay for it for all 5 days. Yeah.
As a financial advisor, you're being irresponsible with your money. You need to take advantage of that.
I feel better, Tim. I like that. Yeah.
Scott, have you just done trap, or have you tried sporting clays yet?
We've just done sporting clays actually.
Oh, just sporting clays. Okay.
But the place we go to has the pheasants, and we want to try that.
Okay.
I haven't done that. Honestly, I've seen guys do it, and sometimes they don't move, so you just basically walk up and blow up a bird that's just like sitting there. And I'm just like, I don't like kick it or something, like a kickball, get it up in the air. Like that's like you see people go up and just aim down, and you're like, come on.
Yeah, that's no fun. Is it a
uh,
game farm or is it like a European hunt? Because there's a big difference.
Well, I don't know enough about it or the difference. There's two of them that we go to, and each one is about 45 minutes, half hour, 45 minutes from my house. Um, One's for sale, $5 million. Anybody's interested?
Oh,
yeah,
I got that in the bank. Yeah,
It's
let's
like
go.
500 acres, and it's
cool.
zoned for shooting, and I was like 5 million, 500 acres, zoned for shooting. Eh. But
Yeah, cost per acre, it's actually not horrible.
yeah, I suddenly, as soon as I said that out loud, I might be getting the 500 acres things wrong, because I mean, you'd be stupid not to buy it if it's that.
Yeah.
But so the places we go, and we do the red and the white course, or the red and the blue course. I don't know if that's the same everywhere. One's harder than the other. I've actually started to get a little bit better, and actually the harder courses I do better than the easy courses. Makes sense out of that. But it's all just sporting clays. But I actually really like to go out in the area, and I don't know what it's called when they fire basically two off at once, and they're going like a bat out of hell, and you got to plug them both, and there's different aspects to it. Yeah, and so I really like that. That's pretty cool. And actually I got something new also. Probably not as exciting as a bow, but I got Walker silencer Bluetooth shooting headphones.
Nice.
Like the buds.
Oh.
And I didn't think that like I was like, no way. That's not gonna work. They totally fucking work. Like like a champ. And like the pass-through mode or whatever, where you could just sit and shoot the shit, and then when you shoot, it just blocks out that. And they got like little foamy tips that you stick in there.
Yep.
They work perfect. They work amazingly well. And so I got.
So Scott, you're doing some field testing on an episode we did a while back where we did talk about these electronic type hearing protection, right?
Yeah.
So you said these are Walker brand, right?
Yeah, they're the Walker silencer Bluetooth.
But it's so Bluetooth, so you're able to like connect, like say to your phone and listen to music or
I could talk
on the
phone or listen to music, or I could do any of that.
But as soon as you fire a shotgun, boom, they shut off and cut out the noise. And
well, the guys I go with have, and they're Walker also, but theirs aren't earbuds and theirs aren't Bluetooth. They're just electric earmuffs, basically.
Yep.
And theirs have the pass through and everything. And I tried theirs, and they work great. And those are only like $30 or something like that. Okay. And they work perfect. And the problem was, did a lot of shooting over the summer, and those muffs just get sweaty,
hot.
It's just nasty. Yeah. And I didn't, and now of course you go in winter, and I could go for some muffs.
Right.
But
no muff too tough.
So I got the Bluetooth ones, and it, I mean, there's taken a little bit of getting used to with it, as far as like when you get out there and you put them in, they work. But for the Bluetooth to work, you got to like turn them on and do a couple things, and there's some shit on your phone, and then it does. Like anybody who, like, if you got AirPods or whatever, you can have the white noise going or the noise canceling, and it seems to have all that kind of shit built in. And I don't really give a shit about any of that. I just want to be able to hear people talking while I'm shooting. So like,
that's not its primary
purpose. You went high or whatever. Yeah. Because just putting regular headphones on, I'd shoot, and then one of the guys would be like, "You went high," or whatever, and I didn't hear a word they were saying.
Sure.
And so having these, I honestly, I'm pretty impressed. They work like awesome. They work perfect.
Sweet.
So, but realistically, you could do without the Bluetooth portion of them, right? That's not important.
I could. I mean, if you want to go out there and listen to some old school Ted Nugent while you're shooting clays, I guess that'd be great.
Yeah. Right. Sure.
And I guess
listen to the Board Outdoors podcast.
Yeah, there you go.
That would be the recommendation. But what else is cool is, and I can't speak for an Android phone. I have an iPhone. If I'm out there and I get a text, like serial read me the text through these headphones, which could be
Nice.
good and bad. I mean, I'm about to shoot, and all of a sudden, ding! Your wife just said you're a useless piece of shit. Urgh! Turn that
Then
gun
you
back
unload the
around.
fucking magazine at
I
that
gotta
point.
digest that for a minute.
But you could tell it to do that or not to do that. But I could honestly give a shit about pairing it to my phone. I just wanted the whatever they call it, active canceling. I forgot what they call it, but it just kills the big sounds and lets the little sounds through.
So one of the other questions, I had on those are, do you ever get like that chance or that time where they do like a false canceling where all of a sudden like somebody steps on a stick or some stupid shit, you're walking through the woods and you get that real fast kind of noise. Do you get that weird canceling, at those points? Or are they pretty much tuned in like a shotgun blast?
I can only speak from my experience and from the 4 or 5, maybe 6 times I've gone out, but I've never had a single issue. I've never had any weird noise shit. I've never had anything. They work great as far as I'm concerned. Yes, Cory, the man in the back.
Do they have a sensitivity like adjustment where like if so like what Tim's talking, where if you were to turn the sensitivity way up, where like any sort of loud noise it would try to block out?
It did have something with that where I could adjust, not necessarily sensitivity, more volume, I think.
Oh. Okay.
It did have something with that. I didn't mess with it. Out of the box, I changed the foam tips.
Yep.
Because
they usually give you like 2 or 3, right?
Yeah, and like different sizes, and so I changed to the ones that fit. And every time you put them in, you gotta smush the hell out of it, and then get it in your ear, and you put it in and twist, and then it re-expands or whatever, and then it's fine. So.
Yeah, I have I have 2 pairs of the muffs, and I really looked at, because I have terrible tinnitus some ears, like my ears constantly ring, and I really thought about getting a pair of those just to help with that, because I mean, like the bird hunting that I do, and not that I'm some big Johnny going out shooting every weekend, but like the damage is already done. Like I already have the ringing in my ears. So I really thought about those for, like duck hunting or, like upland hunting would be great. Nice. Yeah, I looked at the ones that look like the old school, like hearing aids, where like the battery like wraps around your ears. They wanted like $250 for one. I bought them thinking they were going to be a pack, and I opened it up and it was just one. I was like,
why?
One. Yeah.
Why would they sell
cool.
one?
I guess I'll just be deaf in my other ear. Like,
Jeez.
I don't know. Anyways, but yeah, I like the earbuds versus the muffs, especially like if you're shooting a shotgun, just because that muff can, when you go to shoulder your rifle, it can kind of get in the way. So
sure.
That was something I noticed is because I'm kind of new to this, and I didn't grow up shooting shotguns, and so like my aim sucked something awful the first number of times I went, and honestly I literally like didn't know how to shoot, like I wasn't bringing it up properly, and I still struggle with it because I'm not consistent in doing it. But when we did that podcast a few months ago about it, and I apologize, I forgot the guy's name that came on. Sorry guy. But he had given some pointers, and I followed all of them. I got a bore sight. I got it in the mirror. I've been doing all of it, but I had big bulky headphones, and I have noticed that these nice tiny ones, it's like, I mean, it's bigger than having like AirPods in. They're bigger than that, but they're not a lot bigger. So.
Right.
Sure. Man, they seem totally worth having if you're going to be shooting. I mean, any shooting sports, like, dude, you got to have hearing protection, and like, I'm curious how long the life will be. Like, will you get 10 years out of them or 20? Like, it's totally worth the cost if they last 5 years. You know what I mean?
Right.
So.
I figure it'll be like anything, like my Bose headphones that I'm using now. I've had these for I think 5 years or more maybe or
right.
something like that. And they still work great and whatever. I get a new set of AirPods every 2 years.
Okay.
Or so, because they don't last as well. but I use them every day for work. You know, like I can't make phone calls and use my delicate arm to hold the phone up to my head. I have to put these headphones in to talk on the phone. So I think that I have to replace those often because they get used so often. So I'm hoping these will, 5 years, like you said, Seth. I think that would be great.
Yeah, that'd be pretty sweet. So
That Sporting Clay episode was back with Tom Rieger. So
Tom
he's
Rieger,
been on a couple times, and I was actually part of that episode too, and he did teach us a lot of different things about sporting clays and how you can actually coach people how to actually shoot sporting clays. So
right.
very informative. So
That reminds me. Mac made a comment about the Franke that his mom has and how he thought that the Franke was just a POS shotgun. And I've been meaning to just jump his stuff about that because I own a Franke and I love that shotgun. It's not a cheap piece of crap. So I just want to set the record straight.
I think we should. Oh, go ahead, Scott.
I just as there's about a week before I win $10,000 in a new shotgun in that Ducks Unlimited calendar.
Oh yes.
I just, I'm getting you. The SB3 is great. The SBE3 is great for now, but I'm looking forward to the next couple of shotguns that I get from my calendar that is now prominently hung in my office at home.
Well, I think I do have a better shot at that calendar because the source I bought mine from seems to have more winners. So
oh really?
Seth, you're not going to get any credit when I win. So sorry,
son
man.
of a gun. Well, you bought yours from the Alger boy or who? Which one?
Yeah, it had to be the Alger boy because every time I get over to Seth, he says either, you know what, screw you, Tim, I don't have time for you, or I don't have any more calendars. So whatever.
That's weird. So they're already selling calendars, and not that I buy one every year, but I don't think I've been asked at all to buy a calendar.
I got mine
from somebody that I know that works for Ducks. Gosh, that's weird.
It was a month ago that I got mine.
A month ago. Wow. So he's had plenty of time, is what you're saying.
Yeah, I've already drawn pictures on there and written in birthdays and stuff. I've had lots of time with the calendar.
There's some guys out there that are really hard corners selling this shit like crack.
I believe it. Yep.
First of all, Cory, I honestly, that's my mistake. Like I trust.
You're damn right it is.
I try to sell them to anybody I can. Also, I sold all
now. You're gonna be
sold all my calendars. Like I sold them all, so I wasn't forced to like go to my phone and like do the desperation like who hasn't heard from me yet. Like I had people asking me for the calendars, so I apologize. Next year I'll make sure to harass you, and if you don't buy one, then you can go F yourself.
I'm thinking Seth might have bought them all instead of sold them all. So.
Yeah. I tell you what, last year I didn't get one. I sold them. I sold all my calendars, and I never bought myself this one. This year I made sure to buy myself one. So I was down to like my last 5, and I was like, oh, I got to fill one out for me. Filled it out, and so I probably won't win now. But Cory, I tell you what, Cory, I'll give you my calendar. So if I win, it's yours. All you gotta do is pay me $120. So
this is not the first time this has happened.
They're normally $60.
No, I was gonna say, wait a second.
You can have it for $120. You can have my calendar and anything I win for $120, Cory. It's take it or leave it. Because if I win $10,000 here on the 1st of January, you're gonna wish you did it.
So if you call now, you can get this calendar with 2 easy installments of $60.
Hey Seth,
yes,
I just
Cory.
bought a bowl. You got any sort of like payment plans or anything I can do on or anything like that?
I'll trade you the
Cory,
calendar.
I might be able to help
Money's a little tight right now.
It's an
What's
investment.
the matter? You buy some hunting equipment you can't afford?
Well, call me out, Tim. Jeez.
That's right.
I'm going to win the $10,000.
Coming up here in about a week or so, I'm not going to have any money left over either. So
I legitimately would love it if one of you boys won something on that calendar, won that $10,000. How fun would? Okay, everybody's got to answer top of your head. I'm going to start with Scott, then go to Cory, then Tim. Ready, Scott? What's the first thing you'd buy if you won that $10,000?
First thing I'd buy if I won 10 grand. Well, realistically, something would go to Alex's college tuition and blah blah blah. But that
Sure.
sucks for the Border Outdoors podcast. So
What a
the first thing
stupid
that I
answer.
would buy if I won 10 grand is I don't know, I'd pair it with some other money and maybe buy a fishing boat.
Ooh, I like that. That's fun. Cory?
Yeah, I mean, I am going to say something outdoor related. I mean, if I don't have parts for my bow, I'm probably going to say, yeah, honestly, like a little boat, like a little dual purpose fishing hunting boat, just because I think that'd be a lot of fun. So
Sure.
yeah, probably a little
Nice.
fishing boat.
Heck yeah.
Yeah, and then
Tim?
just probably put the rest in savings.
Yeah. Good plan. Tim?
Myself, I'm gonna put it towards my latest purchase.
Ooh,
Um,
yeah. Good
or my
choice.
latest order. I ordered a pickup. So
Holy crap.
Jeez, you sure you don't want to put all of it towards it? Holy cow, new
it's
pickup.
gonna all go towards it. I'll tell you that right now. So
Wow,
yeah,
new pickup.
So,
What
Yeah,
kind
so
of
a new
Chevy did
truck
you get?
costs.
kind of
Oh.
shit. That's not a pickup.
Yeah.
What do you think I am? Some kind of homo? Jeez.
What do you think? I shoot a crossbow or something?
Yeah. What the hell? No. No. So I pulled the trigger and ordered a 24 Ram 1-ton with a HO Cummins in it. So I got to pull that fish house around with something.
Jesus.
Awesome.
So
Awesome.
I
Nice.
kind of went all out. Added an extra zero to the price that I wanted to, but it is what it is.
Yeah.
I'm
You
just
drove
gonna.
you pulled with a few different trucks, right? And so you know that seemed like
Actually,
a good truck for you.
that was the cool part is I've been pulling my fish house. Obviously, is my 2011 half ton, which is for sale, by the way. So anyways, I know how this fish house pulls with a half ton. I go to the dealership and we're just kind of talking over some trucks, and they had a couple trucks there on hand that were similar to what I wanted, but not quite exactly what I wanted. I am a bit of a picky bitch when it comes to my trucks. So they have to have a few amenities. Anyway, the first truck we talked about was a 3/4 ton, and this was a gasser with the 6.4 Hemi. I've never driven a 6.4 before. I wanted to see what they were like, so we took this thing for a test drive, and the wife and I are out cruising around town. I'm like, man, this thing's got pretty decent amount of torque, decent amount of power. It's kind of snappy. So I thought, well, what the hell? This might actually work, because I went with a 3/4 ton because I wanted to, there was some better incentives out there. So we started looking into it a little bit more, and I just want to know how it would handle the fish house. So after driving around for a while with nothing behind it, I went back to the dealership and I just said, hey, listen, guys, I would like to really know how this truck pulls my fish house, see if that 6.4 gasser does the trick. But then I want to also compare it to a 1-ton. And at that time, only 1-tons I had all had HO Cummins in them. So I thought, well, I want to do some comparison. So I bring home that 3/4 ton. And actually, they let me bring home the 3/4 ton and a 1-ton all at the same time.
Wow. Awesome.
The wife was with, so she grabbed one, I grabbed the other. So yeah, it was kind of crazy. We had some pretty expensive trucks in our driveway at one time. So I hooked up the 3/4 ton first. Kind of measured the bumper drop, as we put the trailer on. And with my ice castle, I think we dropped the bumper about 1.5 inches. So I thought that's doable, not bad. And we took it for a drive, and I took both trucks through the same exact route, about I don't know, 8-9 mile route, through some hills, through some corners, through some flats, just to kind of see how they compared. And one of the first things I did when I got out on the road is we got up to about 60, 65 miles an hour. I just started violently shaking the steering wheel. I'm like, I want to see what happens. Nothing happened at all with that 3/4 ton. I'm like, wow, I'm pretty impressed. I like this. Once we got into some hills, I noticed that gasser had to work about as hard as my 5.7 Hemi does in my half ton. and I just don't like having to listen to transmission shifts back and forth. I'm obviously not in overdrive. I'm running it, a tow haul mode. But I'm noticing that I'm shifting between 2 to 3 gears on certain hills. I'm like, this is kind of a lot. This is pretty extreme. Anyways, we bring the fish house back home, hook up to the 1 ton with the Cummins in it, and we took off. And I did a little like 0 to 60 kind of test to see it, to compare to the two. It seemed like, like the taking off of that Cummins, it's like there was nothing behind the thing. It doesn't even know it's back there. Hit some of the hills. I was not shifting. I think I shifted once out of was it I think it's an 6 speed. I think I shifted into like fifth like once throughout all these hills, where with that gasser I was nonstop shifting all the time.
Right.
And
Same tranny, same 6-speed tranny.
No. I can't remember exactly. I know like the Cummins got the ISN transmission in it. I can't remember what was in it with that 6.4 gasser, but I just noticed that the engine is like barely working. So in a way, by going with this HO, I probably won't work it as hard as it actually needs to with all this DEF and all the emissions bullshit they got going on nowadays.
Mm-hmm.
So I feel like it's a truck that I'm just gonna have to hook it to a stump once in a while, just make it work.
Sure.
Just to burn all the shit out of the exhaust. But I just felt like, you know what, with this 1 ton and with that Cummins, I could take the fish house. I could go to Lake of the Woods, where normally with my 1/2 ton, I don't really want to go that far. I've pulled up to Winnie and Leech and Red from our area, and it just seems like it has to work way too hard. With this truck, I feel like I could just take my fish house and go anywhere now. So I'm kind of stoked. I'm kind of excited to get this thing. It is my first diesel, so I got some learning to do there. I've been doing a little bit of research on different fuels and different additives and whatnot. Just trying to kind of dial in on what I should be doing to this thing to keep the longevity going.
Yep.
Join a handful of forums, and there's so much information out there that you can read till you throw up on these things. It's just nuts.
Oh, yeah.
But and when you order these trucks, like I'm sure all the other makers do it too, but through RAM they have a little email that I get, and it shows like the progress. So the first one was, okay, I get this email saying, oh yeah, that your truck has been put in the queue, and right away my heart starts racing. Like, oh shit, I don't know if I'm ready for this yet. And like 2 weeks later on a Sunday after, and all these emails come in on a Sunday. I don't know if that's just how they auto generate or what, but all of a sudden I get this email a couple weeks ago. Yeah, your truck is being built. Now it's on the line. I'm like, oh shit. I know they crank these things out hundreds of trucks a day. And then a week later, I get an email saying your truck is finished and it's prepping for shipping. I'm like, okay, now this is becoming real. So within the next, I'd say probably within a week now, I'll probably be getting a phone call that the truck is all ready for pickup. And the shitty part is, once you buy these trucks, now you got all this other bullshit to add to it. It needs a tonneau cover. It's going to need mud flaps. I'm looking at doing like the clear vinyl wrap on the whole front clip, which I have a handful of quotes out there for that now. It's like, oh my God, it's just, it doesn't stop.
Wait till you get the email that says your invoice is ready.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, that's when I'll literally shit my pants.
I think that's when you start thinking about less expensive tonneau covers, and that shit on the front is that's out the window. And
yeah. Because to wrap your front of your truck, the whole front clip is like $2,000 to wrap it with that PFE plastic shit. And it's like, do I really need it? Well,
if you're that's gonna be the last. So when we bought my wife's car, that was my argument with some of the stuff. Like, if this is gonna be the last, or not the last vehicle, but if you're gonna own this thing until we literally can't drive it anymore, then why wouldn't you have some of that stuff on there?
Right.
Like if you're gonna hold on to it for 5 years, don't put it on there. But if you're going to drive it till it's got 250,000 miles on it, then enjoy the shit out of driving it for 250,000 miles.
Well, and get it as soon as possible.
Start
with
the good shit.
Don't add it later.
Yeah.
Yep. And that's kind of where I'm at right now, because I'm on about a 13-year streak on trucks. So the truck I have now, that was my first new vehicle I ever purchased. The first 2 years, the thing got about 5,000 miles a year, and it
Mhm.
sat in my garage. I got so much shit for that. How can you have this brand new truck and this goddamn thing just sitting in the garage, But it is what it is. But this one, it is going to get driven because I am going to need it for work and for pleasure. So,
Yeah.
um, yeah, I'm looking at some other options that I'm a little bit anal about my vehicles. I like to keep things nice, and this is now I'm going back to painted bumpers. Well, you look at painted bumpers out there nowadays,
Yeah.
half of them are rusting out. So, um, the whole painted bumper idea was my wife thinks that chrome looks like either you're old or you're Mexican. So I'm like, I'm like,
Habanero.
well, yeah, he does not have habanero. Um, So going with a painted bumper, I need to protect it. So there's a handful of things that need to be done after the purchase. It's going to cost some money up front, but then again, it's just going to save things. There's a lot of now I've been looking into it. There's a lot of technology out there nowadays that you could ultimately preserve a vehicle in this Minnesota shitty, salty road conditions and everything else that you protect your investment. So that's
Yeah,
what I plan to do.
absolutely.
It's crazy what standard options are now. So my dad has what is it, the Workman Dodge or Tradesman.
Tradesman, yep.
Yeah. So my dad's Tradesman, which is essentially like a work truck, has more
Yep.
standard options than my LT Chevy had 18 years ago. I realize technology has advanced greatly, but like he's got heated seats and he's got backup cameras and he's got this and he's got that. I'm like, geez, like it was in addition to get a power passenger seat. Now like my dad's got
Yeah.
all the bells and whistles and in a Tradesman. So I can't even imagine a pickup that's like a mid-level to an upper level. It just the amount of
Yeah.
technology just blows you away.
Yeah.
Well, there's a couple options that I did opt for because I didn't know they even had this, and also when I was test driving the vehicles with pulling the trailer, at first I was test driving, just driving around, no trailer at all. Didn't notice these features. All of a sudden, I put my trailer on there, I turned my blinker on, and now all of a sudden you got this 12-inch screen that shows the whole, like say if you're taking a right-hand turn, shows the whole passenger side of your
Oh,
vehicle.
geez.
The whole blind
Wow.
spot is lit up on that screen, so you know when there's vehicles there. So ultimately, shit, you don't even need fucking tow mirrors anymore.
Right.
Wow.
So you
Right.
you can see all that stuff as soon as you flip that blinker on. Boom, that whole side comes up on the screen. So I thought, you know what, that is kind of a feature that I think I need to have.
Yeah,
So
absolutely.
I went for it, and obviously these are all add-ons and whatnot, but it's
Yep.
just you kind of pick and choose what you think you need and what you
Right.
want. After a
Yep.
while, it becomes what you want more than what you need.
Of
Sadly,
course.
Well, but you
but
got to get all that cool shit because, like, my Jeep is a 2019, and when I got it, it had, well, for a Jeep, all the bells and whistles you can get. Obviously, Jeeps, you spend a fortune on these things, and yet they aren't as comfy, say, as a big truck or certain cars and whatnot. But it had
right,
all the electronic bells and whistles, as it were, on it. And within like a year, or well, I guess 2 years, all of a sudden my wife gets a new car and it's got shit that, like, what the fuck is that? Like I didn't get that. I want that.
yeah,
And the stuff, it moves so quick. And so, it's kind of one of those where it's like the feature that you can add today is going to be a standard in 4 or 5 years, and you don't want to give yourself any reason in 4 or 5 years to want to replace a truck because you want to keep it for
Right.
10, 12, 14 years.
Yep.
So, you know, yeah, I'm the IT guy, so I guess, a lot of the things for me are like, if you're going to ever add it now so you enjoy it for the
yep,
whole life of the thing. Roll it into the loan if you want, whatever. Uh, if you're going to ever add anything, add it now
yep.
and uh,
Well,
and enjoy it for the whole time.
it's kind of funny because we know a guy too that he went on and he bought a GMC Denali 1 ton a few years ago, right? And a Denali, you're gonna have like everything. He got rid of that truck and he bought himself a Dodge, attaboy. But he bought a tradesman, so he went to like I think I want to say got rubber floors. I even want to say he might even have crank up windows. And
Oh
he loves the
man.
truck.
Well, quite the
He
turn
absolutely
there.
loves it. Yeah, it's like you went from the highest model you could go to like the lowest grade that you could possibly find on the market. And he absolutely loves it. He's
Sure.
like, I need to just kind of humble myself a little bit. And I'm like, well, to each their own, when it comes to that.
Absolutely.
I like the creature comforts. I like the cooled seats, the heated steering wheel. I'm a bit of a bitch when it comes to cold, so I want that heated steering wheel.
So is that a Laramie you got then?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. The package I
Awesome.
bought was Laramie. Yeah. So,
Dang.
Cool, man.
yep.
Well, congrats. You're getting yourself a truck. Like, yeah, you might not think you're gonna work it hard enough sometimes, but anything that you're gonna want to do with a pickup, you'll be able to do, which is gonna be
Well,
a good feeling. You know.
this is kind of taking a note off of one of my buddies from high school. That he always said too when he bought his big Cummins Dodge. Everyone's like, "What are you gonna pull with that?" And he's like, "Anything I want."
Whatever I want. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, exactly. So I don't have to worry now anymore about what I'm gonna pull. It's just throw some
Right.
shit behind this thing and let her eat. So
Yeah.
I
Yeah,
don't know. So
buddy.
I'm pretty excited.
That's
So
awesome.
Cory got a bow. Tim got a truck. I got some headphones. I feel like like I've kind of let it down here a little bit with what I got. But Seth, any new toys to report? Any new anything new in
My
the Seth
newest
garage?
toy
Or?
is let me think. I don't really have anything super exciting, but there's something I'm excited about. And my wife for Christmas bought me an inReach satellite
Nice.
communicator. So I
Really?
borrowed so I borrowed your Zolio for the Boundary
Yeah.
Waters last year, and then for our hunting trip out west. And she really liked the fact that I could text and communicate, and that we could communicate from the Boundary Waters. And she wants to go back to the Boundary Waters
Nice.
this fall. So we're gonna go back out there this summer actually. And so I was talking to him and Han about getting an inReach for some more Western hunting. And so she on Black Friday, she's like asking me some questions on if this was a good deal or that was. And long story short, she bought me an inReach. So
Nice.
the mini, the good one. So yeah, I'm pretty pumped, man. I'm excited about it.
Is that
Yeah.
work similar to the Zolio that like you
Super
connect
similar.
Yeah.
Yeah. You can text a message off of it directly if you need to. It's clunkier. So they recommend having the app. It's just easier. It's got an SOS feature like the Zolio. Probably one of the bigger differences is this one does technically have a GPS feature to it. So I can turn on a track mode and hike with it, and then
Oh,
it'll give
nice.
me a line on the screen to follow back. So it does
Oh,
have
that's
some.
great.
Yeah, so it's got some track features, which is pretty awesome. So yeah, and there's still more I'm reading on it. There's probably other little features that I'm not super in tune with, but those are like the big things, the big reasons why I wanted it. And yeah, the whole thing's nice and tiny, and I'm pretty pumped. Gets basically if I'm standing out in a desert, it gets like 30 days off a battery, but ultimately I should be able to get at least 8 days off one battery
Wow.
in typical usage in woods and mountain country. So it's
Is
pretty
that
awesome.
like solid usage? Like you never turn it off?
That was my impression.
Wow.
Reading
That's a
it,
long
yeah,
time.
that's my impression. So
Wow.
I wouldn't necessarily have it on the whole time, obviously.
Right.
Like I wouldn't want to risk, killing the battery if I don't have the charger with. But yeah,
Just
so
turn it on when you're getting mauled by a bear. I mean,
yeah, exactly.
what other time do you really need it?
Is that sarcasm, you son of a bitch?
No.
Hold on, bear.
Yeah. Hey, just a sec. I gotta tell my wife. The first time I ever used one was in Canada, and it was the Garmin InReach. I'm like, this is the best, and it was like the first time they had ever. It was the first year they'd tried them, and they're like, otherwise, if it wasn't for that, they would on a week trip, they just would fly in once a week and be like, you guys still alive in there? Like just
Sure.
knocking on the door, checking. Otherwise, like that was the only contact you had. So yeah, I mean, complete game changer when it comes to stuff like that. So that's awesome.
Yeah, it I don't for some I guess they would say it takes away, like the Boundary Waters, like the first trip to the Boundary Waters when I was Like that's it. You're in. If somebody gets hurt, that fucked. I guess that's it. And there's no contact, and you don't know what's going on, and so you assume the worst, and blah blah blah. And that was tough. And then the second trip to the Boundary Waters, I got a satellite phone. You can rent them. So I rented an actual like satellite phone, like I'm a drug dealer. like I got this satellite phone, and I would turn it on, and everybody who could tell me something that would be an emergency, whatever, I told them I'm going to turn it on every day from like 2 to 4. So if you need something, it'll be on from 2 to 4 because I check the battery life and it's going to work out that way. And then, like it was the third trip I had a satellite phone also, and finally I just made a phone call on it because I'm like, well, you paid $200 for the week with this thing. Does it even work? So I made a phone call, and that was like a disappointment.
Did you order a
so
pizza?
I'm like, hey, yeah, I'm on the Finger Lakes. If you guys could get a canoe, but I made a phone call on it, which was a disappointment ultimately. But the peace of mind of being able to track. And then, Seth, when you and I were into Many Glacier that night of Ken's wedding, when we went in there, I brought the Zolio with, and we got like held up for an hour, you know.
Yeah.
And whatever.
Hey man.
And, yeah. Hey, man, people got places to be, man. How long you going to take? But we had no signal there. And in the end, we didn't need a signal there. But we had nothing. For most of the time in Many Glacier, we didn't have any signal at all. And so I was glad I had it just in case.
Yeah.
And I think I even used it. I think I sent Ken's a message that said something like, hey, man, how long is this going to take, man?
I was, but my two of my favorite things, the whole trip out there was great, but that hey man lady was just an iconic moment, of course. But my other favorite, I think my favorite overall part of the trip was when you had your camera for that grizzly bear and you got your camera up to your face, taking pictures. I was like, hey, he's getting a little close. And you're like, I'm fine. And then you lower your camera and you're like, oh shit, he is close. the car.
Whatever, Seth. It's up. Holy shit.
That was too
Quit being a
funny.
little pussy.
Those pictures popped up. Like my phone and my computer and whatnot are all synced up and whatnot. Occasionally it pops up and it's like, hey, who is this person? And I gotta tell it or whatever. And like the next like 2 pictures down were that bear, and I'm like, I really was too close. Like, like those are really close pictures of that bear, and I wasn't rocking a zoom or anything. Like that is way too close. Seth was right.
I knew you were fast enough. He wasn't going to get to you. I was just letting you know, spatial awareness.
Actually, there were people closer, so I figured.
Yeah.
Well, he's
You
eating
just gotta
them.
be faster than them. Yeah.
Yeah. As he's eating them, I'll just get back in the car.
Yeah.
Well, that's how you escape a bear attack with a 22. You just gotta shoot the guy next to you.
Awesome. Well, that's awesome, Seth. That sounds like a great gift.
It
seems
fun.
like everybody's got something fun. Everybody's excited about something.
Oh yeah, 2024. It's gonna be a good year, man.
It is.
All right. Well,
I'm
we
looking
did an
forward to it,
intro. Does anybody want an outro? We didn't even do an intro. So should we just like anarchy and not even do an outro, or should we do one?
Just
Should
let
we
it
all
all go
just yell it?
silent.
Yeah.
Let's all
Everybody at once say your name.
everybody say your name in a Muppet voice, and then we'll just sign off. I'm not serious. I don't want to do a Muppet voice.
I'd have to pick Cookie Monster.
Oh, he stole Meeper. I was gonna use Meeper. Dang it.
My name is Tim, and that tickles.
Oh, okay, we're done with that
Deeber.
one. I'm not going after Tickly Tim over here.
Who wants to tickle my Tim?
All right. title for the podcast is no longer Seth's fault. It is now Tickly Tim. Who wants to tickle my Tim?
Ha ha ha! That tickles.
Definitely not going to sleep tonight.
Yep.
All right.
We'll
With Border
download that
Outdoors, I'm
CBD.
Scott.
I'm Seth.
I'm Cory.
I'm Tim.
All right. See you.
Bye.
Thanks for listening to the Border Outdoors podcast. Follow us on Instagram and be sure to join, follow, and share the Border Outdoors Facebook community page. Also, leave us a 5-star rating and review on Spotify, Apple, or whatever podcast hosting site you listen to. Tune in next week, see what we're talking about, and make sure to get out there and make your own memories.
Hunting and fishing, singing and kissing, here we come. So grab your guns, grab your lines, and here we come.